What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is David Hamlin, aka the Laptop Legend, and in today's video I've got a couple things that I want to share with you. Number one, some lessons that I learned by being an absolute idiot and shorting some low float stocks on the front side of the move. That is a big no-no, and I think I felt like I had the Midas touch on shorts because everything I was shorting the last couple of days just dropped after I shorted it. So because of that, I think I sized up a little too early and really went in without a good strategy and ended up taking a $1,000 loss overall on my new shorting account. Now I was up, over 500 in the last couple of days, so my account is like, I don't know, down 500 now, and it's very overcomeable, but definitely learned a lot of valuable lessons that I want to share with you guys in terms of that. And then I also want to talk about what happened the rest of today and what stocks from today are going to still be moving tomorrow that I'm going to be looking to buy if they continue to have that good movement, because there's a lot of stocks that are really moving, and we got some stuff that's going on with the NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Got some stocks moving because of that, and it's pretty exciting stuff, guys. So stay tuned until the end. Don't want to miss any of this. Please like this video. I don't know how else to say it. Just do it. Nike. And subscribe if you haven't already, because I make these videos every damn day. Alright, let's do it. Alright, guys, so before I talk about how I got squeezed and talk about my shorting fiasco, I just want to dive into the best plays from today that I think will still be moving tomorrow and potentially have some nice continuation. So the play of the day, at least to start off the day, was AABB, and this is the one that I missed the fill on. We saw that they had their app released finally onto, I don't know if it was I don't know which app store it was. I don't know if it was both app stores, all app stores, whatever, but they had their app for their token, I guess their cryptocurrency, whatever. I don't even really know what they do, to be honest, but they had their app release, and that was causing a big gap up. Nice big gap. It closed at 16 and gapped up, opened at like 20. And it started spiking right out of the gate, and I tried to buy like 100,000 shares, and you can see here, I mean, it was going nuts. I think I tried to buy it at like 21 or 22, and I just did not get filled, man. Fills were really tough today. Fidelity was glitching a little bit again this morning. I feel like Mondays it always has some issues. I don't know if everyone is spamming the servers a little bit more, but this thing ran up again. I got like a ridiculously small amount of shares, and it ran all the way up. Shout out to Mama Honeybee. She on her 5,000. She started with 5,000. She made like 1,000 on this alone today, and love to see that. Love to see people in the Discord profiting. But I mean, this thing was moving all day. Started coming back up into close. It actually broke past those highs, but rejected the break, and then broke down back under VWAP later on in the day. And then it tried to have a comeback and actually closed pretty near the highs. So I would say that's a decent sign that this could potentially gap up, over the high a day here and continue on tomorrow. We'll just have to see. Again, I didn't feel comfortable enough to overnight this because I really don't like overnighting things, but I think this could definitely see some continuation, maybe break over 30 and start running in that area. If you want to look at the, let's see, no, I need a, let's go 30 days, 30 minutes. So you can see there should be some resistance, kind of right in this area at 29. And then once we break past that, I feel like it's kind of clear skies, at least until, 35, 36 area. I feel like it could be a pretty decent breakout of that 29, 30 area if AABB gets up there and continues running. So that is probably my number 2 watch overall for tomorrow. The number 1 watch, if you guys did not see this, you must have been sleeping, must have been under a rock, is UAMM. Let me go to the intraday chart. This thing felt very similar to MDMP, except it was a little bit weaker. If that makes sense. And MDMP kind of just ran all day long a couple days ago, if you remember that. And today, this it held its gains and then spiked up. I saw it kind of around here, and then I started getting too busy into shorting, so I didn't buy here because this was a pretty obvious bind. It tests this support level right here at 8 cents. You can see it tests it not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, but 6 times, and it holds every single time that support right at 8 cents. And That's also kind of like right by VWAP, because VWAP was at, I guess, 790 at that time. So pretty good sign that you want to get in here. Very low risk reward if you're getting in at, 8 cents and risking right there. Very clear sign that there was support at 8 cents. And then when it perked back up off those levels and broke out and made a new high, that was also would have been a decent entry. Again, I was just too busy, stuck in my idiotic short position, so I probably missed out on thousands of dollars on this play, honestly, which kind of bugs me because I only finished 324 profit in my Fidelity because literally I missed all my executions and then I got stuck into short in some of those other stocks. So kind of annoying, but this is a really, really good play for tomorrow because, again, we saw what MDMP did when it, it closed up a ridiculous amount. We're like, oh, it's got to be over, and then the next day it ran even more. So if you guys want to run a reminder of what stocks like this can do, let me pull this back up. Let's get 10 days, 1 minute, just so I can go back a little bit more. So it's kind of a similar chart to MDMP. I feel like, this is what the chart for MDMP looked like, and obviously it was up a little bit more. But like if it closes near the highs, you're thinking, what? There's no way this thing can keep going. But yes, it can. So I'm gonna be looking for something like that on UAMM tomorrow. That's probably my number one watch by far, if I had to say. And these are the the main OTCs that I'm watching. Obviously, I'm watching everything else. OZSC had a nice little dip right at open. You can kind of see here VWAP is a little bit in the way, but had a nice little bounce off of that. Just missed the fill on this one. Again, I missed the fill on everything today. ALYI had a nice perk up intraday. You can see had a nice little run all the way from like 7 all the way up to 8.5. But nothing too insane. I don't know if they had news or not. AITX, really fat man, just he like, I don't know what that move is from wrestling. It was a WWA where they come in and they're like, that's what it felt like today with the fat man on AITX. And it tried to bounce there. I didn't see it until it was here. I'm like, you know what? Fat man is going to come in, and then literally it dumped right after that. And then it could never break past those levels very well. So I don't know what's going to happen on AITX, but always on watch. Obviously, the classics, TSMPD, just pretty choppy today, pretty gross. What else did I trade? ENZC, I traded a little bit. It's had a nice dip. I just wasn't patient enough on this bounce, which stinks. I think I only made 172 on ENZC, so you can see, well, I guess you can't see, but I forget exactly where I got in. I don't want to go through right now and take the time to scroll through my entries. I might have gotten in 32.5 or something like that, and then I got spooked out, or maybe I got in at 33, and then it came back down, and I cut here, and then it kept running up, so kind of choppy overall. But I mean, when you see a tank this big, it's typically a good opportunity to get in, And then this support ended up holding the rest of the day at 32 cents. So ENZC still on watch, always on watch. We had a couple other OTC stocks pop up a little bit today and then just kind of fade off. NTRR is one. I made $150 on that. KG, another one, just spiked up and then kind of died. And then I took some stupid losses chasing and then cutting right at the bottom. So let's see, NSAV, that was the worst one. NSAV, I ended up chasing somewhere in here, and then I cut it 3.1. See, I chased in here with size, and I cut here, and then ended up bouncing above where I cut. I lost 500 on that. Pretty stupid. NGTF, I think similar story. I think I ended up buying on a dip here, maybe, and then I ended up cutting here, and then it bounced after I cut, etc. So that just happened a couple times to me today. I felt kind of out of sync today, but everyone has days like that. As long as you don't let them blow up your account, it's fine. ILUS, this did get the news, and then they had a company tweet right towards the end of the day, which I think caused it to spike up a little bit. So there was a lot of resistance up in here. I actually didn't even get filled up until the break of 17, and then I ended up just cutting because I don't want to turn into a bag holder, no matter how good the company would be overall for a swing. Again, I would love to see a dip on this because based on this chart, like, where was it, 30? I'm trying to find it, man. Well, yeah, I mean, it came from, 6 cents. It was as high as, I think, 19. I think that's the breakout level. Yeah, so like 19 is the breakout level. So if it breaks out past that, it's going to be a decent one. But otherwise, I don't really feel like swinging from this price point. I think we could definitely get a bigger dip to load up on this thing. So that's going to be my overall plan for this one. So now I want to talk about my mistakes shorting, and these actually would probably be decent longs, because if you get screwed as a short seller, it's probably a decent long. So the first one that I got screwed on was OCG, and this one literally kept squeezing all day long. I think there were a lot of people like me who took some stabs at it on the short side, probably a little bit too early, and just ended up getting screwed. And if I zoom in here, I forget exactly where I started shorting, honestly. I was kind of shorting it all day long. It was probably, probably started in this area, made a lower high. I was like, all right, I kind of want to take a stab at this now. But then it held up VWAP really nicely, and it broke to new highs, and that was kind of the trend on this all day long. So when you see a stock that's already up a decent amount, I mean, I guess it's not a ton, but up from down, I don't know why it's not showing the bottom of the candle. That's pretty stupid. From 435. When it's up from there and it comes all the way up here, you're thinking, all right, this thing is probably going to pull back, because not a lot of stocks were up a ton today. So that was kind of my reasoning. But then it held its gains, kept making higher highs, and then kept blowing off the top. And it literally just did that same thing over and over. So you see here, like it in this case, it made a higher high, and then it came back down, rejected. And I think some of these I had to cut like right there, and I tried to reshort. You can never find the top front side. That's the thing. And that's what makes these plays very frustrating to short. And I got some good takeaways on the short side. Again, I think most of you guys are only long on these plays, but I just want to talk about, how you would know to long this. And again, the reason is every time it was up a lot and it pulled back, it didn't break down as much as it should have if it were going to, be rejecting, if that makes sense. So let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see. So again, it pulls back, but it holds those gains, and then it spikes up, and it never breaks back under these levels. This level right here, 560, becomes the new support. Same thing here, can't break down under 560, and then it rips through those highs there and just continues on. And I mean, typically speaking, when you get some big green candles like this, you kind of expect a pullback like this, but it didn't really happen, and it was just holding those gains. And at that point, I knew like, shoot, I'm kind of screwed. And it kept spiking here, so I mean, I think I took a stab at it here, because I mean, that looks pretty overextended to me. All the way from mid fours, low fours, all the way up to 7 on a day like today. I mean, that was pretty overextended, right? I started shorting this at like 40% up, which is crazy because it finished 120% up. But you can see, I mean, that looks like it should be coming down, right? It had a little mini pullback. So if you don't catch the exact top, like, you're never really positive on these positions. If you chase into weakness on these shorts, like, you're getting screwed. And then it just ripped off to a new high. It really didn't pull back that much. And you get a little bit of a pullback here, but it doesn't break down below these lows. Finally it does, but it still holds these lows. Bounces right back from that. Rips back on up, rips to a new high. And I mean, it just won't stop. Every single time, it refused to break down and just kept going. So this potentially is going to be a really good long tomorrow. It could also be a good short tomorrow, but I kind of have PTSD on this one a little bit. So just keep that in mind, guys. Like, whenever a stock is not breaking down where it should, and it's kind of hovering in that area, that's typically a good sign you should go long. So keep that in mind, because I mean, this thing was an epic short squeeze. It really was. And I'm pretty sure this had a pretty low float, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was like a 10 mil float or something like that. And the other one that I shorted was, I'm trying to remember the ticker. Oh, what was the ticker? I just had it. KMPH. Yeah, KMPH. This was the other one I was shorting, guys. And typically, actually, you know what? Let me zoom out again real quick. Get the better view for you guys. So typically, when you get a stock that looks like this, comes from 9, out of nowhere it spikes up, and it starts pulling back. Typically, I've seen these just fade on off. And I probably took some stabs at this sooner than I should. So I think I didn't see it until like right here, and I was thinking, all right, this thing is probably gonna break under VWAP and just fade all the way back down to mid-9s. So I shorted into this pop, and it kind of just kept going. Had like one little mini red candle and then green. Mini red, green. Mini red, green. and it just kept going. And then it faded off a little bit more, and then it just ripped right back. Didn't break down. Again, same type of idea, guys. When you get a bunch of green candles and it doesn't pull back a lot, that's not a good sign if you're a short seller, and that is a good sign if you're a long buyer, you know? So kind of just formed like a little wedge here and then broke through these highs and continued squeezing all the way on up there. And I actually screwed myself over on this because I was short here and I covered a little bit here, but then this broke down and I thought, no, it was right here. Yeah, so this broke down past this support level, past 1180. And so I shorted into the first bounce thinking it was completely over, and it just kept bouncing. So I ended up covering, taking some more losses there. So that's pretty annoying. We just had a form filed by Brazil Minerals. I believe that's, BMIX, if I'm not mistaken. Something like that. Just had an SEC form filed by them. I don't know if that's going to be relevant at all, but potentially. We got ZYNE. This is one that was spiking up after hours. We got a couple spike up after hours. This one, you know, kind of just fading off at this point, but still want to keep on the watch list. iSun moving a little bit. iSun, wow, that kind of went crazy. We got SRT, not doing too much. We got Zgin. This is the NFT stock. They had a nice pullback after the run, pretty low float as well. Keep that in mind. TCAT, this one was running. So a lot of stocks I feel like we're squeezing today and not breaking down. And that's probably part of why I got caught in these squeezes. So I need to keep in mind the overall market. But I think the main takeaway for me is that I really have no advantage when I'm trying to short a move front side like that. And what stinks about it is because if you short front side and you catch the top right, you're making profits really easily because you've got a really good average, and it immediately tanks a lot from when you do that. But if you're not catching the top, literally you keep covering and then trying to short again, and you got to buy to cover and short again, and your losses can add up forever. Whenever it breaks the new high, you cover. It just did that over and over and over again today. It was crazy. It was honestly crazy. Turned into a crazy short squeeze. So we really got to be careful of that. And I think my new rule for myself is that I don't want to be shorting moves front side, especially not on low float stocks, ever. Because I have no advantage. I really have no advantage there. And if it's backside, I think that makes it a little bit easier. And it's tough to know if it's backside. It really is. Because, if I zoom in a little bit here, you might think this is backside. You really might. You might think it's backside. But I think the biggest part was the fact that it failed to break down below any of those previous highs. I think that was the biggest thing. And if it did that, then I think it's more likely to be backside. But if it doesn't do that, then it's still technically front side. You know, even if there's a nice little dip, if it's still holding above the support level of the previous one, I think that's definitely still front side. So I need to never do that again, because that's literally just gambling and I have zero advantage. I was getting away from what has made me all my money in trading. If I go back to this, just blindly taking stabs, trying to find the top, I'm going to blow up my account, and I already know that. So luckily I'm self-aware. $1,000 loss in the grand scheme of the profits that I have this year is really nothing at all. So I'm really not worried about it, but I just, I need to move forward and have a better strategy going forward. And luckily I have that. I did a ton of studying this weekend, and some of the best traders, like Tim Grattani, I was watching a ton of his videos, and he has some really good setups that the odds are actually in your favor. So I want to talk about two of those, and the first one is an overextended gap down. So if you have a stock that is a bunch of green days in a row, let me pull up an example. Oh, what was it? EXPR? Is that the stock? I can't remember. No, it's not the stock. I can't remember the stock. That's crazy. I had a stock where you know what overextended looks like, guys. I mean, if a stock goes from 60 cents all the way up to $3 without a green day, without a red day, typically, that's going to be overextended if it does that in 3 or 4 days. And because of that, if it gaps down and you short, in pre-market, you short right at market open, after a gap down, your odds of success are a lot better versus if you're blindly shorting the front side of a move trying to catch the top. And another thing is, what was it, OCG? Yeah, that's not even to mention this chart right here, guys. This chart right here. Let me actually go. Let me go right here so you guys can see. I mean, this was actually a really nice breakout over these, 650 level. It was a really nice breakout. I mean, a really nice breakout. So shorting a stock that's breaking out, that's a low float stock on the, the first huge green day? Come on, man. That's just gambling. There's no advantage in that. So if I let this get up to, I don't know, if it has another green day after this, and then the day after that it starts gapping down, that is a pretty good setup. And I have the odds in my favor because that's the backside of the move, and I have a clear risk level. I can just risk off the high of that move, or I can risk off of the red-green level. And it makes it pretty easy. But in this case, I'm just being stupid, so I gotta not do that. And then the other one is a doji day one. And I think that is where the stock is up over 40%, so it's a 40% gap up, but it closes red on the day. And typically speaking, that is a pretty high odds setup as well. I need to practice with that one a little bit more. So I think overextended gap down is probably going to be a better setup for me on the short side. But I just need to keep that in mind and stick to the setups, guys, because if you just start randomly pressing buttons, hoping to catch the top or catch the bottom, if you're buying stocks, like, you have no advantage over the competition, and it's like trying to swim upstream in a waterfall. Like, it's never going to work. It's just never going to work. So I need to know that, and now I know that. I would say, an $1,000 lesson to learn that is honestly pretty low price, because it could have been a lot more expensive. It could have been a lot more expensive, and I could have, taken a $10,000 loss if I really got caught in a short squeeze with multiple upside halts. So I'm grateful that it was only $1,000, and I'm looking forward to being more disciplined in my shorting and not shorting the front side of moves, and focusing more on those patterns that are statistically more likely to be profitable. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So just focus on those stocks that I called out before. If you want to focus on these stocks that are squeezing, they could definitely continue to run. Keep that in mind. That's a pretty crazy chart. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I will see you in the next one. Until then, let's grow better together. Preguntar, bebé, dime por qué te mientes. No puedes esconder todo lo que tú por mí sientes.